I don't think I would have been able to focus on having a healthy, balanced lifestyle had I not been such a piece of shit. You know what I mean? I think I would have
Yeah.
just continued to be mediocre
Mm-hmm.
and just kept down that path. Mm-hmm.
And, I have to say, I think you have graduated firmly into mediocre plus.
That's all I can ask for. That's
Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Not jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. With Rudy Tyburczy.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for tuning in to the inaugural episode of Jokes and the Gym. I am your host, Rudy Tyburczy. Thank you so much. A little about me. I'm a stand-up comedian. I've been doing that for about 15 plus years. Released a special on YouTube this year. And I've also been a teacher overseas, done comedy all over the world. I started doing it in Seoul, South Korea, when I lived there. And I've also lived in Norway and here in the States in Eugene, Oregon. And I have had a lot of change in my life over the years, and the two things that have proved to be constant for me are jokes and the gym. So I thought, hey, why don't I make a podcast about those two very subjects, which I love. If I could talk about jokes and the gym forever, I'd be a happy camper. And so I created this podcast to create a space in the comedy and health fitness world where we can be supportive and curious about our own journeys and other people's journeys in a funny and authentic way. And yeah, that might be a little cheesy, and I sometimes probably am going to get a little too heartfelt, but that's just kind of me. And I would love to continue helping other people along on their fitness journeys. I recently became certified as a personal trainer, and so I am slowly trying to work on that and find people that are a good fit for working with me. So that's also something I'm excited about. And if you think that might be you, then please feel free to reach out. Find me online, Jokes and the Gym on the gram, or Rudy Tyburczy on the socials. And I'd love to hear from you. Or if you just want to reach out and talk, then I'd be happy to do that, because that's kind of what this podcast is about. It's just me and other comedians talking about life, comedy, health, all of that shit. And it's fun for some of us, and it's not fun for others. And that's fine. And I just want to see where people are at and create a space where we can chat about it and have a silly old time. So if you are tuning in, I really appreciate you. This first guest is a very cool guy, very funny guy. He recently wrote a book, which we'll get into. It is out now. He is from Buffalo. I've met him at a comedy festival. I've seen him in Eugene. We get into some of that. And I'm excited for you to hear our conversation, because I think he has some really valid insights and he's had some unique experiences over the years. So please enjoy my conversation with the one and only Brian Netzel.
Jokes in the gym.
I'm really excited to have my first guest here. He's a friend of mine I've met through comedy, seen him at a couple comedy festivals. I've even seen him around town once or twice. Please, everyone, put your hands together for Brian Netzel.
Yeah.
Brian,
I'm honored.
Brian,
I'm honored.
welcome. You're honored. I'm
honored to be
Thank
the
you.
first guest. I just like hanging out and talking with you. I was like, oh, cool. I get to sit down with Rudy. That sounds fun.
Exactly. Isn't that what podcasts are all about? Just kind of getting to know people on one-on-one basis a little better?
I think it should be. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what's the point of chatting with people if you're not going to get to know them?
That's what I want. I want to get to know people's guts. I want to get to know them a little better. We see each other out at Mike's. We're both
Uh-huh.
comedians. We both do stand-up. How long have you done stand-up, Brian?
I think I'm on year 10 at
You're
this
10.
point. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you're an old
So,
pro. You're a
I
road
know.
dog.
I'm feeling good about it. That's
Oh,
how
good.
long I've been doing it. So
That's not long enough then.
yeah.
No, I mean, it's fun to make fun of it, but also at the same time, it's like you have to do it because you love it.
I don't know what else to do at this point because like nothing gives you that juice, you know? Nothing gives you that I don't know. I feel like the blood's flowing
Oh
when
yeah,
I think about it and I talk about it and I tell people about like going to hit the road and do comedy and my eyes get all big and I start like, you know, I'm like, oh, I got to settle down. Sorry.
they're like, you have a problem, Brian.
For sure.
I think most people will concede that if they do comedy, they also have a problem. I think
Yeah.
it's not totally right. It's not the worst thing to do and to want to do at all.
No, I don't think so. I think you can make it healthy if
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
if you're good and practice at it and diligent, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's kind of what I want to talk about is kind of the intersection between health and comedy and like how do you make it work for you? How do you make it healthy? How do you incorporate it into your life in a way that, well, yeah, maybe it is overwhelming and overtakes a lot of your decision-making processes, but how can you do it in a way that also like promotes a balanced kind of life?
Yeah,
That's
man,
how
absolutely.
you know, so many comedians are able to like not so many. Some are able to make a living, but most aren't. You know, like 95% of the comedians I know aren't like making a living just doing comedy.
I think that's super true. And like even ones that are really, really good, you know, like there's been people that have done like the Tonight Show and then, you know, they have to crash on my couch the next weekend when they're in town. It's like, oh man, if that guy's not making enough money to like live, I don't know if there's hope for me. So I better figure out some kind of balance here if I want to keep doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like, oh, this gal's been on the Tonight Show. They must be loaded. And it's like,
Yeah.
Well, they're loaded, but in a different way.
For sure.
Okay, so let's get started. I kind of want to like, you know, I like a workout. I love working out. I'm a big workout fan. I know that you're interested in health, and we'll get more into the details of that. But I just like to work out. As soon as I've turned 40, I just turned 40 this year. How old are you, Brian?
I'm 43, so I'm right in the same boat with you.
Sweet spot, baby.
Yeah.
That's the new 17, right? 43 is the new 17.
I feel like a child, but like I'm financially responsible now. So I feel like just a kid with enough money to do the things he wants to do.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'll have to get some tips from you. Okay. Do you do stretching? Do you wiggle? Do you shake it out? Do you do anything to wake up? Have you done anything today?
I haven't done anything today, but typically I do. I have like a yoga routine that I like to get into, you know. I like to do some restorative yoga for my joints so I don't feel hurt.
I'm all about joints right now. I just turned 40 and I just start talking about stretching to strangers. No, honestly, I'm just like, ooh, my hips are tight. How are your hips today?
Oh, it's all hips and shoulders, man. Everything, like when you wake up in the morning and you're like in your 40s and you feel it, you're like, oh, I need my hips to like pop or stretch or something's got to go on here.
Go somewhere. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's exact. And those are the ball joints, you know, those are the socket joints that move in a variety of angles. And I've been working on them a lot. I actually have a couple shoulder things in on each side right now. Little tiny things will pop up just here and there. Same with the hips, but it's like, okay, I try to really listen to my body.
Same.
And just put some motion into those places, but not in this like, I'm just going to lift, I'm just going to do whatever. It's like, no, move around, push the limits.
Yeah.
It's like being a kid. It's like you push the limits and then go from there. Okay, so let's wiggle around a little.
Let's do it.
Wiggle around, and I'll shoot some words, and then you give me your responses, okay?
Just my immediate riff?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
What do you think? Like, what's your immediate response? Okay, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Workout.
Uh, Stretchy pants.
Stretchy pants, love it.
Yeah,
Okay,
man.
glutes.
Glutes. Squats.
Oh, the one of the kings and queens of all exercises, the squat.
Right.
Love and hate the squat. Kind of hate the squat actually if we're going heavy.
Yeah, but it makes
Uh,
for a beautiful butt. So.
it makes for a beautiful butt and a strong pair of thighs. I
Mm-hmm.
love a nice hardy pair of legs.
just some hammies you can bounce a quarter off of. That's what I'm into.
Oh yeah, I want a honkin' ham. Uh, glutes and hams, baby. Okay, breakfast.
Breakfast. I skip breakfast, man.
Oh my gosh, Brian,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You can't do. Why do you skip breakfast? What's the
I
deal?
just I don't feel like I'm ready for breakfast until like noon. Like that's just like how my digestive system feels. It's like if I hammer down like a bowl of cereal at 7 a.m., I just feel bloated.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm a big pro breakfast. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna try to withhold my pro stuff too much, because it's like
Yeah.
I want to really encourage healthy habits,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that my habits are not the only ones.
Yeah.
I'm
For
someone
sure.
who's lifted heavy for 20 years,
Uh huh.
and it's all about working out. Not all, but it's I love working out,
Mm-hmm.
and so my metabolism is running, and I need to eat all the time. So when I hear
Yeah.
someone not eating breakfast, I'm like, shame on you, Brian. How could you not eat breakfast?
In the back of your head, you're like, I can't believe the first guest I booked was a guy who doesn't even eat breakfast. This
He's a
is
slouch.
who's my next guest?
Doesn't he know about toast?
I don't know anything about toast. I don't know how toast affects the body.
You put it in. Okay, breakfast. What else? What else are we talking about? Testosterone.
Uh, I don't know. I feel like I'm good with it. I feel like it's at a nice. My testosterone's at like a good. Like I'm not a maniac anymore. Like it doesn't drive me to do stupid things that I normally would do as a younger man. But I still got enough to like lift heavy things and do manual labor and look this
And
beautiful.
entrance a lady.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Uh, or whomever. Yeah, I know. Testosterone is one of those things that you just hear all the time, and it's like, oh, you got to have more testosterone.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? Your testosterone is gone from being a big jerk in your life to like,
Yeah.
hey, buddy, let's go do some manly stuff. Put on a pair of
Totally.
gloves.
Yeah. Let's lift this big heavy thing in an ergonomic way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Papa Uncle Testosterone.
Could you imagine if there was like a sketch character? Oh, here comes Uncle Testosterone. He's just
I'm,
all acne and flannel.
oh my gosh. Uncle Testosterone, he's just telling you to punch things.
He has no drywall left in his house.
You're petting a cat and he runs up and he's like, take this dog. Uh, Uncle Testosterone.
His main diet is just energy drinks.
Oh, he's pounding monsters. He's pounding the Big Bangs or whatever they're called.
I think they're
Uh,
called bags. Are those energy drinks?
I think so. I think I saw a documentary on that guy once, and he was a freaking psycho.
The guy who makes bang?
Yeah, his house was like bright pink. It was just obscene. It was some ridiculous, like, oh, of course, that's what the person who makes Bang energy drink is like.
He's just completely over the top.
He was kind of Uncle Testosterone.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. This makes sense. We're working it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what else? Buffalo.
It's my hometown. It's great. It's easy to live here for me. I do love the road, but this place is so easy to come back to. It's just it's so downtrodden, but like in the best way. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Right.
in the neighbors will help you shovel your driveway type of way.
Okay. So it's like really it feels like kind of a small town.
It is a
In
small town.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I can't go anywhere in the city. Even in like the metropolitan downtown area, I can't go anywhere without running into someone I know at this point.
Hmm. Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
towns that are about how big is Buffalo?
Population wise, I
Yeah.
think we're like the same size as Cleveland, if that makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know those numbers either.
I have no idea. I think like all of this area of Western New York has 1 million people, and
Okay.
I think the downtown area probably has a third of that.
All right.
I want to
Uh,
say off the top of my head. So it's anything less than 1 million people, I feel like is a small town.
it's like a mid-sized city. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm from Eugene. There's 150,000 around here, so
Mm-hmm.
you never forget how small it is. Kind
Yeah.
of a deal, you know.
Yeah. I
But
love
yeah,
Eugene.
yeah, I saw you here in Eugene. You were at were you at one of the Just Comedy shows? Was that it?
Yeah, I was at the. I came and watched the Eddie Pepitone show after
Oh,
Savage Henry.
yeah, that's right. That was gonna be I was gonna go do the fest and then do the Eddie Pepitone show here on Sunday or
Mm-hmm.
Monday, but I didn't do the fest because I have energy for like not enough things. And I was producing that show,
Yeah.
selling a bunch of tickets. I'm like, I don't want to be rushed. I'm such a slow boy, you know.
I'm a slow boy.
I I need my times.
Dude, you gotta stay balanced, otherwise you run out of gas.
Yeah, it's. I think as you grow, you learn to set boundaries a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, you do. But
I
maybe
do,
it's
yeah. It's very easy for me to like set and enforce my boundaries at this age.
yeah, because you do a lot of solos. Like you're traveling
Mm-hmm.
across the country in a what? Or do you have a van? Do you have a
It's just
sleeper?
a it's just a SUV,
Just
and
and do you
I
put?
sleep in the back of that.
Yeah. How is that for you? How do you like when you're like got a? What's a typical road trip for you? 3 months? 2 months?
Probably 2 months at the most, because then I gotta like come back to Buffalo and make some more
Mm-hmm.
money, and then get so I can get back on the road,
Yeah.
basically. But like, it's fine, and I never really have an urgency to get back because the first thing I do when I get back is like, oh, I gotta get back out there. I need to
Mm-hmm.
get back on the road. So to me, it's always treated me great, and I've met so many people across the country that'll like put me up or book me on shows, or I'm
Yeah.
out there just hanging out in national parks, just detached from the 5G, and
You're just riding a buffalo,
yeah,
a
yeah,
bison. I guess I
they're
mean
out there. There's
they're
herds of
out there.
buffalo just roaming.
They're in the country. They're out there in
They are.
Montana, right?
Yeah, in Montana, in on your way to Alaska, they're there. They're everywhere.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you're on the road a lot
Hmm.
and so this question am really interested in. What's your gym been lately? Like where do you exercise? And that could be physical or
Yeah.
otherwise. That could be Mike's or the gym or whatever. What's your
Hmm.
space been to?
I try to stay super disciplined on like, all aspects of like, making sure I'm healthy. So like I'll do yoga at home. I'll go to Planet Fitness as
Booyah.
much as I can. All my jobs here in Buffalo are manual labor, so that keeps me in shape. You know,
Mhm.
I make sure I'm not overeating or not eating the wrong stuff. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm all 100% about balance physically, but also
Mhm.
like, on the mental side and the creative side, I want to make sure, I'm setting aside time to do writing. I'm setting aside time to read. I'm side setting aside time to, finish projects because, you start so many
Mhm.
projects and you have all these creative thoughts and you write down your ideas that, I think it's just as important to finish those things.
Absolutely. Like you start stuff so many times we start things. I know
Hmm.
for me, I've been recently diagnosed with ADHD and
Yeah.
then told that I also probably don't have it, but also identified highly with all the symptoms that I saw.
Yeah.
So who exactly knows? Like you said, it's about finding the
Hmm.
balance that's right for you.
Yeah.
A-
Absolutely.
And so, do you have any goals? Are you trying to like get stronger? Are you trying to get more flexible? Or are you just working on overall health? Are you working on just feeling decent when you wake up? What are your aims?
I want to just keep getting better. Like I think
Mm.
it's regardless of age, I think you can still get more flexible. I think you can still get
Mm-hmm.
stronger because that
Mm-hmm.
keeps happening. I'm definitely stronger than I was in my 20s. Like
Yeah.
I can't like bench press as much, but like I'm a stronger human form than I was. Like I can lift more, I can
Yeah.
do more, I can work longer hours, I can stay awake longer,
Wow.
I'm more disciplined and focused now. So I feel like my goals are just to keep going up,
That's
and I don't
that's great.
foresee anything stopping me, and there's no science that says you have to be stopped. So
Brian cannot be stopped.
I will become Uncle Testosterone by the end of this podcast.
I love that. I mean, you got to have that growth mindset. I think,
Hmm.
honestly, I think what holds a lot of people and comedians back is the lack of growth mindset. To
Yeah,
to
dude.
be quite fair, and it bums me out. That's one of the reasons I wanted to start a podcast like this and
Hmm.
have conversations with people that are supportive and
Hmm.
encouraging and being like, well, you can do something about that if you want to. It's not going to happen overnight. That's what people don't
Hmm.
understand. It's the same
No.
thing with comedy. It's
Hmm.
totally. And that's why I think a lot in so many ways comedy and health go together so perfectly, because they take decades of your life.
Yeah.
It's a practice. Both
Hmm.
comedy and health are practices that you have to
Hmm.
incorporate and be disciplined if you want to
Hmm.
find results. you
Yeah,
know
I couldn't agree with that more. And I think like that practice is the thing, all those self discoveries that you make within the journey of the discipline and the practice you're doing. It's never about like where you want to go. To me, you know what I mean?
hmm
Like goals to me aren't like where I end up. It's like where do I want to go from here? I take a deep look at where I'm at now and what's our next direction. What's the healthiest thing we can
hmm
do from right now to push ourselves forward and continue that growth, whether it's physical growth or creative growth or emotional growth, financial growth, whatever that is. Like
hmm
where are we moving ourselves in a forward direction? And then the where you wind up because of that is never usually where you think you're going to wind up, but you're in a place that's great regardless. You're like,
hmm
oh wow, I'm financially healthy, I'm physically healthy, my comedy is doing great, like I have all these things going for me. So
hmm
when people talk about goals, I think maybe not so much where you want to end up in the very end, but like what's the next step,
Yes.
immediately, I think is more important.
So you're looking like a year down the road instead of
Hmm.
5 or 10, kind of.
Yeah. And that's kind of been my practice for the last, since comedy started. I was
Yeah.
never like, man, I want to be on Netflix or Saturday Night Live. I'm just like, I just want to be able to get in the car and go places.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that sounds great. Like, you think about what would happen if you had $1 million more right now, and chances are it wouldn't be a ton different than what you're doing, I'm guessing.
No, absolutely not, because I love what I do now so much that, even when I'm like working my whatever job I'm working and I'm making good money and I'm saving money, like past a certain point, it loses its meaning because the things that I like are so uh, down to earth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I like
Simple.
nature and I like meeting people and I like talking to people. I like
Yeah.
hugs. Uh, I like
Usually
being
those are free.
healthy. Yeah, it's all these things that like don't cost any money. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Money never really played a part in my life, except like it's just a tool to do the things that I need to do, so I can. It's money's there to fix my car or put gas in my car.
Yeah.
Eat healthier, have a gym membership or a place to live. And that's it. That's all I care
Totally.
about as far as that goes.
Yeah, I've been in a similar boat. It's like I'm actually not doing great financially, but I have a ton of experiences. I've been to,
Mm-hmm.
30 countries. I've lived abroad.
Yeah.
I've done comedy all over the world. I've
Mm-hmm.
met people, fallen in love, gotten
Yeah.
my heart ripped apart.
Yeah,
Like
man.
all of those things that you
Uh-huh.
should be doing. Uh, Money'd be nice, but who
Yeah, I
cares?
feel
Like
like
you're
you'll
still
get it.
living life.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have all these experiences that are super positive, which are, priceless in my
exactly.
opinion. And I feel like, if you're setting yourself to grow, that I feel like money's just going to find you. And then, when you're done going through becoming, a personal trainer, and now
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden you have, accomplished all these goals as that, and you start networking, and people start to meet you and know who you are, and they start recommending you to other people, and
Yeah.
that's where, like, I feel the financial growth is going to funnel towards you.
Yeah, I think it does come to you, but you have to take ownership and you have to take action. You have to take
Mm-hmm.
steps. That's what
Yeah.
I've been good at historically in my life personally, is taking the next step, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
The ones related to money haven't necessarily been as abundant over time, but again, I haven't made choices with that as the highest priority,
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
the
and you will.
finances.
You'll figure it out, man.
Yeah,
You're growing up, you're getting older, you're getting smarter. Like,
I'm trying.
you're gonna, if you're the fact that you're saying I want to be better at something, that alone I feel will put you on a trajectory to figuring it out. Because I feel like if you put enough focus out into the world that you want something, like, your brain's just gonna do it uh, unconsciously, and then one day you'll be like, yeah, I just started making better decisions. I don't know.
And sometimes I think it becomes an unconscious part of your life when you decide, oh, I'm going to be healthier, I'm going to drink less, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to, but you have to start with a conscious choice. That's what
Yeah.
I tell, it's like I have to intentionally
Mm-hmm.
try to be a little more positive. I have to
Yeah.
intentionally try to connect with people
Mm-hmm.
more. I have to intentionally do those things
Yeah.
because it doesn't always just happen. I don't know. I identify with spoon theory, which is an energy, how much energy, our energy levels,
Mm-hmm.
how much energy we have, as it's related typically to like chronic condition that may have pain or energy attachments somehow. And I have varicose veins. That's something I had surgery for when I was 25 as
Mm-hmm.
a dude living overseas, and they
Yeah.
sliced my legs up. So most of the time, like
Man.
70% of the population gets varicose veins, but usually
Mm-hmm.
they're 65-year-old ladies. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
no, I got it as a 25-year-old dude because it's just in your blood, and I
Uh-huh.
smoked and drank too much in Korea, and that was just how we did it. But
Yeah.
uh, at the same, the spoon theory is just something that helps people who don't necessarily have struggles with energy levels understand. So let's say you
Yeah.
start the day with 10 spoons,
Mm-hmm.
and one activity like the gym takes 3 spoons away,
Yeah.
right? And then a full day of work might take 4 spoons away, so
Mm-hmm.
you're left with 3. And as a comedian, it's like even if you do a 5-minute set, that's all 3 spoons.
You're gone. That's the rest of the spoons.
That's it. And so it's like sometimes it just feels like that's all. If
Mm-hmm.
I have a day where I'm doing this a lot. If I have a day, if you have a day where you exercise, you have a day's work, and you do a mic or a show,
I'm
that's a
done.
long day.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah. I'm out.
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Any one of those things for a lot of people is
Mm-hmm.
going to be hard. And so I'm kind of hard on myself as far as like, oh, I should have more energy to go do this
Mm-hmm.
stuff at the end of the day. But it's like, then I'm like, it's a 10 p.m. mic and you've been working for 12 hours. No
Yeah.
shit, you don't want to like jump out of your seat with your cats right now to
Uh-huh.
talk to 3 drunk people who are
Yeah.
not going to be listening to you.
No, I'm all set on
Yeah.
that.
And sometimes if you want to just go hang and connect, sometimes the mic is just to go hang with your friends. That's
Yeah,
it.
sometimes it's just to say hi to my pals and be like, oh yeah, these people are still here. Okay.
I'm
That's
glad.
good.
Or maybe you might have a joke you want to work on. You're like, oh, I want to
Mm-hmm.
get to the mic this week. I want to work on this bit. I want to make this
Yeah.
bit better. And so you're going out. But but sometimes when you have a life, just that stuff doesn't always take the highest priority, and you have to like weigh things because
Hmm.
an open mic is different than a booked gig
Yeah,
at the same
yeah,
time.
absolutely. An open mic is completely different, energy wise. I feel like a booked gig, especially if I got to go drive 2 3 hours to the
Mm-hmm.
gig. Like if I have a booked gig that day, I'm lucky if I will make it to the gym. I'll
Right.
probably have enough energy to do yoga, but I
Yeah.
don't want to like go to the gym and then not have enough energy for the show. So I'll have to like front load my energy to the
Totally.
show and not make sure like during the day like maybe I'm doing something that's low energy instead. Maybe I'm just
Mm-hmm.
reading, maybe I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at my notes, maybe I'm getting some shopping done, maybe I'm
Yeah.
taking care of some emails or paying some bills, just something mundane that doesn't take a lot of my energy so that way I have it for when I need it.
Because I mean, comedy is great, wonderful, beautiful, such a giving
Hmm.
endeavor in many ways, but it also is so draining and so
Hmm.
demanding. If you're in a room with any amount of people giving you any amount of attention, I see it as an opportunity, as a an opportunity to serve those people, and
Hmm.
it's not your like right to talk to them just because you're on the mic. It's a privilege, so it's like I
Yeah.
want to show up for those people. I'm not this kind of comedian who wants to
Hmm.
have like these divisive, explosive perspectives. That's not how I operate. I
Yeah.
want to have fun with the people in that room. That's how I
Hmm.
approach comedy shows. What was your last gig like?
It was great. It was in a like a podunk town.
Nice.
It was in a fire hall.
Of
Um,
course.
it had at least 100 people in it of
Whoa.
every demographic, age, and race, sex, every from the bottom to
Yeah.
the top. There was teenagers to 85-year-old old ladies, and
Nice.
it was amazing. I but I try to like when I get on, I just want to connect to
Yeah.
people. I want to be like,
Yeah.
let's all. How are we all gonna connect together for the next 20 minutes or so? How are we all gonna like
Mm-hmm.
vibe on the same level? Let's do that. Let's all get
Yep.
together and just let's laugh about something that we all know is funny. And it's
Were
amazing.
were they a good crowd? Were they friendly? Did they want to play from the start?
Yeah, they were the best. And it was
Good.
just the most redneck podunk town in central New York, and it was everything I hoped it could have been.
Right. I love it.
Yeah.
And and did you take the time that day to like get yourself in a the headspace to be prepared to have the energy? What were some of the things you did that day?
My normal routine, just do yoga,
Yeah.
not eat a ton because
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be like bogged down, you know.
Yeah.
I don't
Totally.
drink too much caffeine during the day, stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Um, you know, take care of some mundane activities, but I had, by the time the show came around, I like to have almost all of my energy or like,
Yeah.
at least be refilled with energy by the time that I go on stage. I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I want to kill myself at the gym or something before that's going on. Or if I do go to the gym, it's I'll force myself to do like a lighter workout.
Yeah.
Because once you're at
That's
the gym, you just want to go hard. You just want to like
yeah. I was
I
gonna
want to
say,
do
is that
everything
hard?
for. It's difficult. Yeah, I just want to like spend an hour and a half, 2 hours at the gym because I feel better. The blood's pumping, my heart's going. Like
Yep.
I I don't know. I just am in a better headspace after working out, and it's hard to explain to people. Like I'm not in there trying to get big. I'm like, oh man, I can feel my heart and my pulse, and that
Mm-hmm.
feels good. I'm like, yeah, that's nice. Like things are working, things are pumping. Like blood's going to my brain.
Mm.
It's clearing things out. It feels good.
It's so good. I've
Mm-hmm.
I've I love I'm the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time pushing the brakes at the gym sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's to my own detriment. Sometimes I'll have gotten on a mic like later at night and realized,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh no, I did legs today." It's like I
Yeah.
shouldn't have done like 4 different compound exercises for my legs. That was dumb.
No, I didn't. I
Uh,
didn't need to do as much as I could do with one singular muscle.
yeah, it's like, oh no, that's these. I'm glad this is a mic tonight. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's just like I get there and I'm so stoked. But I have found that I know I'm going for health more because I go for cardio days
Yeah.
to not to lose weight
Uh huh.
necessarily or get in shape, fit like to have a body composition that I'm going for, but more just because I want my heart to be in better condition.
Yeah. Same.
That's
I
it.
just like. I sit on before I work out. I sit on the bike for 45 minutes, and I just want to get the heart rate up, man.
Oh
It
wow,
just
nice.
I feel good when that happens, and um, it sounds simple, but
Yeah,
I just feel better when my blood's pumping more.
absolutely. And I think that that is overlooked by so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's sad that it's too bad that people hate working out so much. It just
Yeah.
makes me kind of sad because I'm like, but you you feel so much better
Right.
if you move your body, and that's my main like kind of philosophy
Mm-hmm.
as a health proponent or a personal trainer, which, like you mentioned, I'm working towards getting a personal training
Mm-hmm.
certificate. P.S. A side note: personal trainers in the United States have no requirements at all. I
That's
am a
amazing.
personal trainer right now,
I
even
love
without
it.
any kind of accreditation. I have one client, but it's like I want to continue to work with people slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my like getting back to my philosophy, it's just like, where are you now?
Mm-hmm.
What steps do you need to take to do the next thing? Just let's
Yeah.
worry about the next thing. If you
Mm-hmm.
have big term goals, if you have big time goals, which I want to hear more about yours specifically, but
Mm-hmm.
like if you have those, let's keep those in the frame of mind, but it's not the be all end all, I don't think. As much as doing something, taking the next step forward. Don't look too far ahead because you're just going to get overwhelmed. Working out takes
You're
time.
gonna have anxiety if you look too far ahead, and that's what anxiety is. And then once you have that anxiety, you're like, oh, it's gonna take so long for me to get in shape. Like and it's demotivating to people,
Yeah.
I think. And when you make it a point to live more in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and not be distracted by like the what ifs or wherefores or whatever or the past or anything. Like just focus on the thing that's in front of you,
Yep.
and you'll do better for all that other stuff. You'll feel better about your past, and your future will be brighter if you can just dial in on the thing that's happening right now. Let's just do this exercise right now. Let's do the writing that we're doing right now. Let's do
Mm-hmm.
the lifting that we're doing right now. Let's do the hiking that we're doing right now. If you can just dial in, I think, on those, everything else will just kind of solve itself.
Yeah, it should fall into place, and the results
Mm-hmm.
should follow.
Yeah.
Everyone's body is different. Everyone's contraindications, what they can and can't do because of
Mm-hmm.
certain physical health requirements,
Yeah.
is going to be different. So again, it's like, no, what can you do, Brian? What can
Yeah.
you do, Rudy? What are the steps you can
Mm-hmm.
take to move towards that place you want to be?
Yeah.
And
You're a unique individual organism with different everything than everyone else.
yeah,
Like you're not gonna be anything close to who else is out there doing best at whatever they are.
totally.
Just be as best as you can be for yourself.
And again, it's the same with health. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
with comedy. Comparison is the thief of joy, right? If
Yeah.
we're comparing ourselves to one another, if we're looking
Mm-hmm.
at social media posts and we're seeing what gigs people are getting or
Yeah.
not, or and comparing that to yourself, that's gonna put you in this state that isn't gonna make you
Mm-hmm.
want to do much. I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's completely unhealthy, and uh, won't progress you to where you want to be.
Totally.
Because action is what progresses you to the next step. And a lot of people will like see what I do and they'll be like, "Oh, I wish I could get on the road," or like, you know, to see all these places and do comedy and get booked here and meet these people. It's like you can do whatever you want to do. Like you don't have to do
Mm-hmm.
anything that I do. Like whatever I do might not make you happy. So like just do what's making you balanced and happy and healthy.
Well, if somebody did say that to you, said, "Oh my gosh, Brian, I wish I could just do 3 months on the road. How do you do it? What do you tell them? What's the first piece of advice?"
Just put life, your entire life, in a place that allows you to have the freedom to do that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like it's don't put the cart before the horse, as they say. Is that the saying? You
Yeah,
know,
you got to get your ducks in a row.
mm-hmm. Like before I decided to be able to do this, it was like, okay, I have to stop working 9 to 5s because they
Yeah,
just don't let you out ever.
the
You know,
flexibility
they
is
don't.
not there.
Yeah, you don't get enough time off. You don't make enough money, and
Yeah.
like to me, that's like step one is quit your job and like figure out a way to make enough money to live on without having to be on someone else's schedule. And
Yeah.
like if you can do that, then man, you can do whatever you want after that. You could go on the
Mm-hmm.
road, you can be a comic, you can travel internationally, you can whatever you want to be able to do, figure out the steps to be able to
Yeah.
get you there and just focus on hammering those out first,
Yeah.
try and get out of debt, try and improve your living situation, or try and improve your financial situation by finding a way to write your own schedule and all those things. I think is the biggest hurdle. But once you
Mm.
get past all that, man, it's just you can do whatever you feel like you want to do.
It's a tough needle to thread to
Mm-hmm.
have that flexibility and stability, essentially,
Yeah.
to know how to go through those waves, to
Yep.
build up a little equity, to build up a
Mm-hmm.
little safety, so you can take the 3 months off and go
Yeah.
to Alaska or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's I think for a lot of people the dream. So it's like you're living the
Mm-hmm.
dream.
I'm trying. I mean, I'm
You're
living what I think my dream is, and it's
That's
it's fun.
good. So, what are your goals moving forward? Do you have specific goals? I know we've talked a little bit about just taking the next step in front of you. Do you have goals
Mm-hmm.
creatively, health wise, physically? Do you want to gain 20 pounds? Do you want to squat 500? Do you want to get your Showtime special in the next 2 years? All the most reasonable
Yeah.
goals.
Right now, I'm just trying to get my house to a point, remodeling wise, to where I can sell it
Mm-hmm.
and you know just take that money and just be on the road all the time. So that's
Yeah.
like it, but that's a huge thing because like it's going to take me a few months to finish all the remodeling tasks that I want to do. It might take me a year or more to finish all
Mm-hmm.
those things, depending on what happens in the next few months. Um, and then once I do that, then it's sky's the limit, kind of for me.
You're just free as a bird.
Yeah. So, because that'll give me like a lot of financial freedom, but also I don't have to spend time remodeling my house. I don't have to
Yeah.
spend time shoveling snow out of my driveway or
Yeah.
fixing my fence or trying to get a contractor to fix whatever else is broken on my house. Like to me, I'm grateful to have shelter. I really am. Um, but I think there's a better way I can do it. I just don't know what exactly that is yet, but I'm
Yeah.
hell bent on figuring it out.
What was your life before comedy? Because if you're in your 40s, you've done it for about
Yeah,
10 years, you probably had
yeah,
a life of some
I
sort
did.
beforehand. What was that like?
I worked in restaurants for like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the military, then I worked in restaurants, and I had a live-in girlfriend. Very normal
Mm-hmm.
life. I drank a ton, like an absolute fish. Just drank and smoked,
Just a maniac. So the real
hardcore.
Buffalo way.
Yeah, hardcore until I think like 37 years old, and then I was just like, I woke up one day and I was like, I don't feel good.
This is
You know what I mean?
bad.
Yeah,
It
like when you
hurts.
physically are just like, I don't feel alive right now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's such an important point because so many people have that moment where they feel the same way, but then they don't make any changes.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's important. I don't know, like something just clicked in my head, and I was like, I need to change everything, and I just completely 180'd, like quit smoking, quit drinking, broke up with my girlfriend, like started like quit my job to just start to figure out how to do like gig work and work that doesn't
Jeez.
require me to have a schedule. It's like I remember it being like a singular day, and it's like
Oh
I just
wow.
quit everything, and I'm like, all right, let's everybody out.
Every
I gotta sort all this shit out for a minute.
starting over. Yeah,
Yeah, it's clean
we're
slate.
yeah, I'm not untangling the knots. I'm just cutting them off.
Big time, big
It's like
time.
new shoelaces, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, was it just like I feel like shit? I
I
have to
just
change this.
Yeah, I literally woke up one day. I physically felt like shit. I had insane amounts of anxiety,
Mm,
like that was just unaddressed for multiple purposes, and it was just like I can't. I just felt like I couldn't live like this anymore.
yeah,
You
well,
know?
good for you. What was the first thing you did? You said you dumped the girlfriend, you quit your job. Those were like the steps. Was there any other like thing you did? You're like, oh, I can't wait to do this.
Well, yeah, absolutely. The first thing I did was quit drinking and smoking, and then but
Nice.
my relationship was founded on alcohol anyway, so that took care of the girlfriend
Mm,
situation.
mm-hmm.
And then I bought a van and just started like gutting the van, and I'm like, I got to get on. I don't know what told me to do it. I was like, I just have to get on the road.
Yeah,
I have no connections anywhere. I have
yeah,
no goals in mind. I'm just gonna buy this shitty van, and I'm gonna gut it, and I'm gonna take whatever money I earned from the last few jobs, and I'm just gonna go on the road and I got to get out. Like
yeah.
I had to have a moment of clarity for myself as
Mm-hmm.
an individual, and just clean house for a minute and like recalibrate everything in my
Think
body and my psyche. And it was tough because you're when you do that, now you're just like forced to take a good hard look at yourself and see like everything
mm-hmm.
that's wrong with it and be like, ah, geez.
What was I doing? And sometimes you have
Mm,
to. It takes a change of scenery. It sounded
yeah.
like you needed to get on the road. It's like I get it. I love my hometown. I'm in Eugene, Oregon. I love it. But I
Mm,
also lived abroad for a decade, and
yeah.
there's so many things. I think everyone's relationship with their hometown is highly fraught. There's
Hmm.
so much that is loving and welcoming and comforting about it, but almost also so much that can be challenging and stiff, and like the outer expectations are harder to sometimes bat away because they're a little more present than they are either in like a new town or a big town, a big city. Have you ever done the big city thing?
No, I've lived a few places across the U.S., but never like. I like a big city. I just never
Yeah.
had a reason to live there
Mm-hmm.
until comedy.
Yeah.
Uh, but also, I love being outside in nature so much.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I lived in New York, it'd be an hour and a half for me just to be in the forest.
Yeah.
And that
Totally.
doesn't feel good for me because like I like when I'm in the forest, I just like I feel like I can breathe better, So that's part of
You
my
can.
balance is to know that I have nature accessible to me,
Mm-hmm.
which is something you can do. Like if you lived in Chicago, you could do that. You could drive a half an hour and
It's a little
be in
easier.
nature.
Yeah.
You could be in somewhere in Illinois that's peaceful and has woods and all of those things, and you go hiking, and or if you're in Nashville, you can do that, or if you're in
Yeah.
Atlanta, you can do that. But like,
Yeah.
if you're in New York or LA, you can't just.
It's harder. You have to find
It's
the pockets.
Yeah, and that's a struggle. And then you're competing with everyone else that's out there trying to be in nature because they're all starved of nature as well. So it's like
Yeah.
I was never drawn to the big city, with the exception of comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, big cities are interesting. It's kind of the same thing in Korea. When I lived in Korea, lived in Seoul, huge city, 20
Mm-hmm.
million, I think,
Oh my god.
live in the middle of Seoul or something like that. And so it's like
Yeah,
the largest percentage of a population that lives in or around a capital city in the world. I might have that wrong, but it's like half the population.
it's a lot of
Uh,
people either way.
it's so many people.
Yeah.
And anytime there was like the cherry blossoms out or anything lovely, like a gorgeous day,
Uh-huh.
you go to the river, you go to the place with the cherry blossoms, and it's just
Yeah.
like, I can't
Yeah, dude.
move.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's so rough, and it was like worrisome at times. And this year it happened, like my old stomping grounds, there was like a stampede of people, and like it was like on Halloween, and I think it was last year, and a
Yeah.
hundred and some people died
No,
from like
what?
really, yes, from getting like smushed in the
Oh my
friggin'
god.
subway station, and like it was insane. Like
Oh.
I had some of the most fun times in Itaewon in Seoul, South Korea,
Uh-huh.
but like sometimes it was just like so many people that you could just barely move
Yeah.
around, and we had so many good friends there. But it's just so hard to deal with that many people all the time. I get
Mhm.
antsy in Eugene, and we don't even have traffic. It's like it. It's like, oh no! It added 10 minutes to my 15-minute drive. What am I gonna do?
Oh, this is the
So
worst day ever.
it's horrible. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to take one step at a time and like be happy where I am,
Yeah.
and like just be grateful for stuff. And like, yeah, I live in a little cottage in a yard, but I got trees and cats around, and it's like I didn't have that for years in Seoul, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, how can I? And my mom's around, and so it's like family and cats and friends, and it's
What's
like that
better
stuff
than
is
that?
it's awesome. I'd like to go on a couple more trips, but
Mm-hmm.
again, it's just like, okay, how can I take the right steps to do
Mm-hmm.
that? I did a weekend of headlining shows this weekend. Got out of town.
Hell yeah.
It was a friggin' I headlined a Margaritaville.
That's
Uh,
oh my god. That's one of my goals. That's one of my comedy goals
I
is the
know.
headline at Margaritaville.
I
Damn.
got Oh man, I got 2 nights of it. It was a blast. It was a lot of fun, and we had a good. But it was like just like such a rowdy drunk. It was what you would think a conference room at a Margaritaville in Medford, Oregon would
Oh
be.
man. That's great though. What a fantastic experience. What a lovely like I love those gigs. I love when it's
Yeah.
just trashy and the people are hammered and like they're all one dimensional because
Oh
like
my.
I grew up in like it's such a small redneck town and I was like, "Oh no, I know all of you people. Don't confuse me for some liberal well-read comic.
Yeah.
I'm white trash to the core. It's in my genetics." So like
I've
I
been drunk
like
at
that.
baseball games with you. Like
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Yeah, Oregon
Mhm.
has this super liberal perspective from the outside, I think. But I
Yeah.
talk about how Eugene is more purple,
Mhm.
more politically divided than a lot of
Yeah.
people think. And so I'm used to a lot of the different kinds of folks. And so like in a place like Margaritaville in a southern Oregon town it was a blast. We had a good
That's
time,
awesome.
and I was nervous, but I had a
Mhm.
fun time. I did 50-minute sets,
Oh
and
hell yeah.
that's the dream for me,
Yeah.
is like to be able to do a headlining weekend 2 to 4 times a month. And
Yep.
that would be the ideal as a comedian. Like I don't
Mhm.
want to be on the road forever. I
Yeah, same.
don't want to. Well, I do think the best gig in all of comedy is featuring. Featuring is
Yeah.
the most fun. If you get a
Mhm.
20-minute spot in front of a hot room of paying
Low pressure.
customers, low pressure, so
Yeah.
much fun, put
Uh-huh.
them in a great spot, set them up for the headliner to just
Mhm.
crush it and have a blast.
Yeah.
But that doesn't pay the bills.
No, no, it
The
sure doesn't.
max that a feature is going to get is $100 or $200 sometimes on a
At
good night,
yeah, at most, you
totally
know.
at most. But it's like it's the most fun hang too, because you get to like fluff the audience a little.
Mhm. Yeah, you're
It's
just taking them higher up in the altitude. That's it. And you don't have to land the plane. And that's low pressure. 20 minutes is like you just peel that off in your sleep, do a great job, everyone loves you, you
yeah,
know. You did
create
the work.
create that vibe. Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. I'm so happy. happy to do that. And I love bringing a good feature with me to like really get the audience happy. You know, like
Yeah, same.
I love this guy, love this gal. They do 20 minutes, it'll be a blast. We're gonna have a
Hmm.
good time. I want people to have fun. I don't they don't have to laugh at everything. They don't have to agree with everything. Who cares? But let's have a fun 45 minutes. You could have pushed play on Netflix. I've watched, The Fall of the House of Usher. That was dope, but I'm out right now. you know,
There's
we're having
something
fun.
different about, even like after doing comedy, I feel like I want to go see more live things
Yeah.
all the time because I feel better. I feel engaged in
Our
what's going on.
It's magic. That's
Hmm.
why I continue to do comedy, is because the experience of being in a room with people, breathing the same air, laughing at the same jokes,
Right?
feeling whatever you feel
Hmm.
related to whatever is happening together with
Yeah.
other people, even though we have our own unique experience, is
Hmm.
so magical, so
Yeah, there's
powerful
like
and so
a
fun.
there's like a whole like we are all one consciousness thing going on,
Yeah,
and you don't get
totally.
that by watching TV. But when you're in a room, you're like everyone's in agreement
Yeah,
with what the reality is, you
with
know?
what we are doing. And
Mm-hmm.
and so like there was like tables that were talky the whole time, some super talkative
Yeah,
tables, and then the rest, it's fun to get the rest of the crowd on your side. When you do a
absolutely.
little crowd work, when you
Uh-huh.
kind of shit on those hecklers a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But it's like I'm not going too hard, but I want them to shut up.
Yeah.
so
Let's
so
acknowledge the fact that they're the all in the wrong.
Yeah. And it can make for such a more connective experience. And if you
Yeah.
do it the right way, even the person that you are taking it out on can be a part of the fun. But I
Uh-huh.
don't it's like hecklers think they're making the show better, and I hate that. It sucks.
It's
Cuz
uh it's a common thing lately. What I like to do is if I see a heckler or a person talking to, I like to pit the rest of the audience against them. And there
yep,
would be like I'll always like find one person like looking over at the person that's talking because it's distracting. And
yeah.
I'll look at that person and be like, isn't that annoying what they're
Yeah.
doing? And I'll be like, this person just has a huge problem with you.
yeah.
And I let them do it. And I'm like, you're pissing off all of these people. Like, you can hate me.
yep.
I'm fine with that, you know?
It's so true, and it's I was a teacher for a decade as well, so it's a lot of the same skills. It's
Yeah.
classroom management up there half the
Yeah.
time.
Teachers
So
make great comics.
sometimes we all we also don't.
You've met some stinkers in your day.
Oh, I've met a stinker or two, but maybe on our next episode. We're flying by.
Are we?
Yeah, we've been
Love
talking
it.
for 55 minutes. This is
I
great.
just like talking to you.
I love talking to you, Brian. It's a
Hell yeah.
blast. And that's the fun of podcasting. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get into it, is to like get to know people more,
Yeah.
because this is what I'm yearning for right now. I'm yearning
Same.
for one-on-one interaction. I'm yearning
Yeah,
to
man.
get to know people on a deeper level rather
Yeah.
than a broader level. But although at the
Absolutely.
same time, I want to speak and engage with people who are interested in the same things,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't be deep with everybody, but I think the podcasting world is a great medium for that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for. It's like my goals, if you're curious about my goals with this, it's
I
like
am.
I want to do one of these a week for a year. I want to release a
Yeah.
podcast a week for a year and see what happens.
I think you can
It's like,
totally do that. I feel like you will make enough content to be able to chop up and put on the internet or however you release it. I feel like you know enough people uh, who are engaging enough and have interesting enough stories, and I feel like you're a good conversationalist to be able to do that. So I have all the faith in the world that you are on the right path to do that.
rock on, man. Brian, let's see. Let's try to ease into a landing here.
Yeah.
What I'll ask a couple more questions, and then we'll kind of move on with our beautiful days. What's something uh fun that you listen to when you work out? Do you have any fun? Do you have any what's on your shuffle? What's on your playlist these days?
It's always vaporwave music all the
What's
time.
that sounds like water droplets being turned into gas.
It's like '90s nostalgia, remixed mall music, if that makes sense.
Vaporwave 9, so it's
Yeah,
like you're like, I don't want to be here.
yeah, oh yeah. No, I'm definitely like putting myself in a spacey atmosphere when I'm working out. It just like something about the music just sets my brain waves right, so I'm
You're get
not like distracted by like what I'm thinking about. I'm just kind of like in there lifting, you know?
you're getting out of your head and into your body.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I can just kind of separate a little bit and mentally,
Oh,
and then just like feel what's next when I'm
yeah,
working out. You know?
that's so cool. Yeah, I mean, there's something there. We need to have something that gets us into our bodies, and I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big like dancer. I'll go out and dance
Hell
by
yeah.
myself because it's like that's when I'm not thinking about stuff. I'm just
Uh huh.
moving with the music and the people around me, and that's very gratifying.
Hell yeah.
It's not like I'm the center of attention. I don't want that. I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go and move around other people, kind of like comedy. There's
Yeah,
something
I just want to
cool,
get
and
lost in it.
yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah, man.
and it's all about the hips. You're still just loosening up the hips, baby.
I've started working my hips out so much
Oh
since
my
I
gosh.
started being in my 40s. Like it is the most concentrated thing that I
I,
like lift with and that I stretch every day.
dude, I'll tell you what, my I know I've made changes in my life because Instagram used to be 90% boobs for me, and
Uh
now it's 90% like hip stretches. Like that's it's the same creators, it's the same
it
content
is.
creators, but
Yeah.
now it's the focus is on hips.
Yeah.
uh it but seriously, all the exercises, I've had tight hips, and it's not like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
do these for 4 weeks and it helps. It's like, no, you have to kind of work on your hips regularly for months to
Yep.
find the relief. And it's kind of the same
Yep.
thing. Like I had a supraspinatus impingement right here, one of
Mm-hmm.
the four ligaments that I think keep the shoulder in place. And
Yeah.
so I just haven't been doing things where I like go overhead heavy. And it's
Yeah.
just like moving through natural motions to a place that's a little more where you feel some tension, where it's a little
Yeah.
uncomfortable, but don't go too far. It's just kind of like natural movements. And by following a bunch of really helpful chiropractors
Yeah.
and super experienced trainers and stuff like that, I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting so many cool pieces of input. And I'll share some of my favorite ones. I'll send you links and stuff like that.
I love all that. Yeah. I love
Mm-hmm.
there's so much out there. And like
There's
I
so
try
much.
them and I'm like, wow, that felt great.
Yeah.
Like thank God the internet exists. Otherwise I would have never known how to stretch my hips like this or like,
It's so
pop
good.
my hip when it's too tight. And it just, God, do I feel wonderful after doing just like 2 days straight of that? I'm like, oh, all that pain's gone. Huh.
Yeah, I feel a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Yeah. Right on. It has been great talking with you today, Brian. I hope that we can do another one of these at some
I
point.
would
Maybe
love
we can
to.
see how. That's another thing that I think would be fun is chatting with people about if you have specific goals, how you're doing. That was the initial
Mm-hmm.
idea of this podcast, was for me to be a trainer for someone one-on-one and then go through their journey with them. But I
I like
think,
that.
and I would like to do some of that. I want to build a client base that I work with. I want to work with
Mm-hmm.
comedians in a supportive trainer capacity. That's one of the
Mm-hmm.
ways I'm approaching this. And so I'd love to hear how you continue to progress. I want to touch on one or two things. You've written a book, right?
I just finished writing a book. Yeah, I just sent it to the printer and got the proofs for it yesterday, actually.
That's
So
so
I'm just
cool.
I'm just waiting for it to come in the mail.
Does it have a title? What is it?
Yeah, it's called Boondocking for the Brokenhearted.
Boondocking for the
Yeah,
brokenhearted. That's fun. It's got the B's and D's and K's, some of
it's
my
it's very
favorites.
it has very good alliteration, and then the
Yeah.
subtitle is attaining enlightenment by sleeping in your car. So that's
Okay.
kind of what the book's about, and it follows the last few years of my road journeys, and like, um, how I was able to use that to really reflect on myself and direct it into a positive manner, but also being like, very dark, but also dark funny, you know,
Yeah. So
and
is it in the memoir style?
I don't know. I don't think
It
so, because
okay.
it's not very chronological, except for like maybe a few sections. It's more uh I think it's more geared towards like self-discovery from its inception to it, and then seeing it through
Hmm.
to a healthy place, whatever,
Hmm.
wherever that came from, whether it was in chronological order or not. It's just kind of like, here's where I felt I was before I wrote the book,
Hmm.
and here's what I learned across all these years, and then I kind of put that all together to have, a nice capstone of like, oh, that's why I'm where I'm at now.
Yeah.
you know that's why I feel really well balanced, and that's why I have healthy boundaries now, and that's why I discovered
Hmm.
who I am through that. And a lot of it has to do with just removing yourself from all the influences for just a little bit, just
Hmm.
hang out in the woods for a week and don't be on your phone and see what happens. You
Yeah.
might really really discover something about yourself.
Hmm. And for some people, it might be an hour or 20 minutes.
Hmm.
Be away from your phone for an hour and see how that
Yeah.
goes. Not
Yeah.
everybody can just go to the woods for a week. That'd be
No.
nice, but
If
I
they
think
if they could, that'd be great. But yeah, the step is to just make an effort to like stop having artificial dopamine in
yeah,
your life constantly.
yeah, it's there a lot.
It's a lot.
So, so if you could distill 10 years of comedy experience and a lifetime of all the other stuff into a piece of advice for yourself as you were beginning your comedy journey, or if
Yeah.
you could say something to yourself or someone in a similar position when they were starting comedy, what do you have any like guiding pieces of advice that you think would have served you well over this last decade?
If I was to talk to my first year comedy person, I would tell them to quit drinking immediately, because that was the thing that really set me on a different path. Was like sobriety was it,
Yeah.
for
Do
me.
you
But
do you go ahead?
I had a huge problem with it. Some other people might not, but if I was talking to myself from that time, then yeah, that would be it.
Do do you think yourself would have listened to you at that time?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
he wouldn't have heard. He wouldn't have heard a bit of. He'd be like, "What are you talking about? I'm doing great."
Jaeger on a Tuesday's dope.
Yeah, 6 gin and tonics sounds like a good start.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
dude.
thinking about all of the I kind of hate to think about all the money I've spent on booze over the years. I've
Yeah.
made a big change myself, but at the same time it was like, you know what? I had fun. I was traveling. I met people. I was
Hmm.
doing this stuff. Having a shitty golden beer in Thailand is worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
and
And I think like to add on to what you're saying, like I don't think I would have been able to like focus on having a healthy balanced lifestyle had I not been such a piece of shit. You know what I mean? I think I would have
yeah.
just continued to be mediocre
Mhm.
and just kept down that path, but I think like being to the extreme in the negative really helped me to try and focus on being in the extreme in the positive.
Yeah, it can give you some much needed perspective.
Hmm.
And I have to say I think you have graduated firmly into mediocre plus.
That's all I can ask for. That's in the positive.
That's where I'm shooting. Mediocre plus.
Yeah, man. It's a good
Right.
spot.
Absolutely. Well, if people want to, check out your stuff, where can they follow you online or find your book? Anything like that? Anything you want to plug?
Well, the book's not out yet, but it will be maybe by the time this podcast comes out.
Oh,
They
nice.
can find me on Instagram. It's just my
Uh-huh.
name, Brian Netzel. my website, thebriannetzel.com.
Isn't it the Brian Netzel? Is
it
that
is
what I
the
saw?
briannetzel.com.
The
Yeah.
Brian Netzel. Very nice.
Yeah.
Netzel's
Someone
Pretzels.
took briannetzel.com already. So,
Yeah, when I Googled Brian Netzel, you were, I think, the second one.
Yeah. I think there's a real estate mogul out there somewhere or something.
Yeah, that friggin' Brian Netzel. Can't wait till he croaks. Nope, sorry, other Brian.
I'm going to take his domain immediately.
Yeah, you got it. All right, well, I have had a delightful time talking with the Brian Netzel today.
Likewise.
Brian, I really appreciate you and your time and your mindset and sharing some of your experiences with us. I can't wait to talk to you again.
Well, thank you so much, Rudy. I very much appreciate you as well.
All right. Well, until next time, keep on working on those jokes and gyms, baby.
Will do. Thanks, bud.
Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Not jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. With Rudy Tyburczy.